Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and today we're looking at Shadowhand. Now, this is I believe, 2017 solitaire game with a lot of elements added to it. Kind of a spiritual evolution of Regency Solitaire, a game I covered a few years back, and I've just been waiting until Shadowhand was at a more reasonable price. It's kind of overpriced for what still is a solitaire game with some RPG elements. Now, I'm going to be upfront about this. I have to be a little bit careful for a very unique reason when covering Shadowhand, to try my very best to maintain objectivity, because I had, when I was covering Regency Solitaire, just the best experience with the creator of Regency Solitaire and Grey Alien games. Like, the person in charge of that Twitter account retweeted me a lot. They were very nice. They responded to me. They actually kind of oddly offered me a free copy of Regency Solitaire after I had already started airing episodes, in the sense that I had already owned the game, to which I never responded because I don't want to have that level of interaction. And it eventually, and possibly for just how much of a direct interaction there was there between a critic and a creator, when really there shouldn't ever be a direct interaction between critics and creators. Creators should ignore critics because they are beneath them and not of any use to a creator. Creators and artists should create whatever they want because they feel the need to create. Critics are to give purchasing advice, or interpretations maybe, for things that can't be purchased, to the layman, normal people, not the artists themselves. So yeah, my goal as a critic is always to inform and give purchasing advice to people who might buy the game. It's not to really tell a game creator how to make their game better or anything like that. They shouldn't really listen to me. It's a weird situation certainly to be in, though, that you had a really good experience, because almost always you would expect it would be the opposite, that there would be an awful experience. And I have had a couple of awful experiences, and I've since just not, like, included people in tweets per se to reference the company that made the game. That way they can't see who's talking about them as easily. So yeah, with that in hand, I'd say Shadowhand is kind of a weird name for what this game is. When we first started, it asked me what difficulty. There's an achievement for playing it on very hard mode, so I'm going to just try on very hard mode. Let's see. The other games they have here are Regency Solitaire and Spooky Bonus, which is kind of less of a solitaire game. I imagine the newsletter just launches to a website. Yes, it does. So, did it literally just close the program? Yeah, either the game just crashed or closed to launch to the website. That's weird. That is a weird choice. Anyways, so yeah, let's start the game. Yeah, I kind of would think, since you're playing as this, like, highwayman as a woman character, highwaywoman I suppose would be the right term, you might go with that, or cut purse, things that are more directly related. Shadowhand sounds like it's an indication that there's going to be a whole thieves guild, and I'm not sure if the story goes in that direction or not. There is a little bit too many games that have shadow as their first word in their name, and it is hard for shadow to really feel like a good descriptor. But yeah, let's start the game. If all I can criticize is a
40 years ago,
game.
when I was a young woman, I lived in a wild, lawless corner of England, far removed from London. Highwaymen and footpads robbed travellers with impunity. Smugglers plied their trade in contraband from France. And corruption festered behind a thin veneer of respectability. I lived as the Lady of Darkmoor Hall, with my dear companion Mariah. One night, we set out in secret for a potentially scandalous assignation. But disaster struck. A highwayman pounced and murdered our coachman. Desperate, I struggled free from the wreckage. Mariah was gone. Fearing recognition, I disguised myself with some of the coachman's clothes and gave chase. And so began my nocturnal adventures as the highwaywoman, Shadowhand.
So yeah, it definitely feels like probably what happened here is a case more of Shadowhand being something that was fairly unique and fairly copyrightable more than an actual name. That is way more of an intro than you had in Regency Solitaire, which was clearly just a somewhat simplistic solitaire game with some good ideas added on top of it to make it more of a linear game. In a funny way, Regency Solitaire, though, is too linear, so once you've done all the levels, you're pretty much done. Seems like you can drop from difficulty whenever you want, but I imagine that would affect your achievement status. So the goals are mandatory and harder, duels are mandatory, enemies are 10% tougher and smarter, and you get 10% less gold on hard, whereas goals are optional, duels are mandatory, enemies are normal, and gold is normal on normal. And then on relaxed, goals are optional, duels are skippable, enemies are 20% weaker, and you get 20% more. But yeah, nice little cutscene at the beginning of the game. It almost felt like they were going to say that this character you're playing as now is the continuation of the character from Regency Solitaire, which I don't think that would quite work. And obviously we need gold probably to buy equipment, and let's check our inventory right now. Yeah. So you have a like left hand, right hand weapon or items, and then all kinds of weapons, and then a shop at some point. Then you have considerable more items as for your outfit than Regency Solitaire. And I imagine each of these items will have a slight bonus effect to them, although a lot of them may very well just increase your damage or your defense. And then apparently 3 pieces of equipped gear. Really a lot here, to the point where it feels like there's enough inventory where you're going to collect so much stuff you'll just be selling duplicates like crazy. And then you can have 3 active abilities and 3 passive abilities. That is definitely a lot for what is, I think, a solitaire game. What will be really funny is if I find out there actually is no solitaire in Shadowhand at all, and it is a completely different experience than what I think it is. But yeah, you can definitely see there's role-playing elements here, attribute points, special training, arguably, when you have these kinds of role-playing elements, it makes a decent argument to potentially play a game multiple times. Although I tend not to. I assume she has 0 defense, and then 20 health, and then 10 stealth. Okay, stealth is not what I expected that to be, but I guess maybe there won't be so much magic in this game. All right. In which Lady Cornelia Darkmoor finds herself alone in the woods. Chapter 1. Okay. Alright, so from that initial cutscene, it's not going to be a AAA game, so they're going to have to step down a little bit. Now we're going into more of the standard visual novel, text on screen with a character being shown. I forgot to even mention, part of the reason why I'm playing this is I just did a spotlight for a game called Love Letter, which was far too simplistic of a card game set in kind of the same time frame as this. And so I was looking, well, it made a very good excuse to finally get around to playing Shadowhand. Now, for a visual novel element here, since I'm looking at a TV 10 feet away, it's kind of bad to have the text this small. I can read it fine, but it would be nice if it was bigger and taking up the full screen. It'd be nice if she was a little bit bigger, taking up the full screen. Damn that highwayman, I lost my carriage and my friend. What else will befall me this ill-fated night? Click anywhere to continue. And it's fairly obvious to immediately assume that there's a twist and that the lady you were with was working with the highwayman and acting as a distraction. And then here we have Lord Fleetwood. Halt, who goes there? I am a gentlewoman in trouble, sir. Pray identify yourself. I must know whom I speak before I bring you into my confidence. Madame, my name is Lord Fleetwood, and I own these woods and other lands hereabout. I assure you that I will assist you in any manner you desire. Your coach is in a sorry state. What is your requirement? A clean cloak, a fresh carriage? Lord Fleetwood, I thank you most sincerely. I am Lady Cornelia Darkmoor. Well, there's the whole. You've blown your cover. I need neither cloak nor carriage, but I would have your pistol. My companion and I were ambushed, and now she is gone. I fear for her safety. I must find her. I must impose on you to keep our meeting here a secret. The situation is delicate. Very well. I see from your determination that we should take one pistol a piece and scour the woods for your friend. Yeah, I'm gonna show that I'm a terrible reader or a terrible speaker at this rate. I am in your debt now. I must take my leave. There's no time to lose. My missing companion is named Mariah. She has ebony hair and blue gown. I'm glad to be of service, Lady Cornelia. I will do what I can to help. Farewell. Alright, so you start with Fleetwood's pistol. Shoots for 5 base damage. Generations of Fleetwood's family have used this reliable pistol to win duels. It has a charge of 4 and damage of 5. That's a piece of loot. Alright. Well, good. I'm glad to see there actually is solitaire in this game, because that would be incredibly embarrassing if there wasn't. Although, there are also duels, so theoretically, at some point in development of this game, and we'll have to look at it and see how much of this would hold up, there might have been an idea to completely abandon the solitaire concept, which is just a generic gameplay mechanic, and just have a standard card-based RPG, something along the lines of maybe Darkest Dungeon or Hand of Fate. Uh, but yeah, Solitaire is fine. Fancy looking cards, kind of zoomed out. It's kind of funny that it's just saying play. Like, you would think that the tutorial would have us equip first, but maybe it just auto-equip there. Try to remove as many cards as possible. Click on a card one lower or higher than the card at the bottom of the screen. So this isn't Klondike Solitaire. It is closer to what would be the closest comparison? Maybe a simplified Spider Solitaire might be the best reference. There's thousands of different solitaire games, and I'm sure an expert in solitaires could name this directly. But this is generally also the way that these solitaire games play. They used to be fairly prevalent on Steam. They've stopped being really that prevalent, and they used to be made with a generic solitaire game engine, and maybe even this is still using that engine, although it would make a lot more sense nowadays to just program this in something like Unity so that you could have it work on Android and even Apple phones and those operating systems also. There are several types of games, hidden object games, jigsaw puzzle games, that have kind of a very basic and simplistic engine that can be used to make those types of games really easily, whereas something like Unity requires actual skill in programming. Alright. So 4, 5, 4. Draw a stock. There are no more playable cards. You need to draw a new card from the stockpile. 0s and 9s can go on top of each other, so it's not doing any of the face cards at the moment, just 0 instead of ace and, or, well, 0 would be below and not a ace, which means there's actually 10 cards. And then 8, 7, 6, 5. You start a combo by playing 6 cards in a row. Combos boost your gold multiplier, so keep them going for more gold. Click in combo when you need to draw a new card from the stockpile. So combos are not really timed based or anything like that. So, nice. And so there's my first achievement. And then 50-50 shot here. Take that. Then take that. So had I gone the other direction, I would have gotten, I wouldn't have not need to draw on a card. But then that's the last one. And I'm not sure what would have lowered the rating there to make it not perfect, but I imagine that was a very basic first level. Now, interesting question here. You have 2 gameplay mechanics. You have solitaire, which probably can't get that much more difficult, and then you have duels, which may be based on a lot more randomness and could be fairly difficult. We've got 54 gold multiplied by 1.2 for a combo of 7, giving me 65 gold in total. Of course, until we find a shop, we don't know if that's a good amount or not. Curse my bravado. I should have kept Fleetwood at my side. The woods are teeming with poachers and footpads. I don't know what a footpad is. There's someone about to rob me, I know it. suppose if you don't care about the story too, you could also skip the story. But honestly, if you just wanted to play solitaire, there's probably better interfaces for just basic solitaire. And arguably, maybe even Regency Solitaire might be a better interface for just playing this kind of solitaire. There's someone about to rob me. I know it. By her saying somebody is about to rob me, I assume she means someone is roaming about to rob her, not somebody is nearly at the moment they will rob me. So it looks like duels are also solitaire. So it's staying in the same mechanic. It's just now, I guess, combos probably will charge your items. And since this has like a charge of 4, I bet I need 4 card combos before this can fire. And so there very well may be just a timing element to this. Unless there's something specific about, like, the number 4 shows a pistol and the number 9 shows a pistol, so maybe I'm looking for pistol cards with images to then charge up this. And these cards definitely look like inspired by Magic the Gathering cards, and I don't know if in the real world that would really work, but I guess you don't really need it to work in the real world. And see, we have a 10 stealth where he has only a 5. I don't know what that means or how that equates. And then this is stock cards remaining, and then this is an undo button. So I think we've pretty much done everything. I mean, we could see a chapter goal, and then menu and options. It's all the same stuff. Let's go. Defeat the enemy with your pistol or charge your pistol by removing cards.
Duel.
Okay. So this one. And then. So you have to in turn when you can't go. And so he's just making this ridiculous attack bonus. Alright. So I messed up, I think, fairly badly there. Am I supposed to lose here? Let's see. This doesn't feel like this is just going to charge by default. Wow. Alright, fine. 7. Still not charged enough. Alright. So 9 goes to 0. Which then could go back to 9. But I don't have it. See, if anything, I suspect this is literally just charging up. This does a damage of 4, this does a damage of 5 though, so playing one more match would let this fire, but unless it gets a major bonus that's nearly triple what it's over triple what its damage is, I just don't think that there's a way to do that. Fire pistol, your pistol's charged, click to fire. So that does like 5. 6, 7, 6, or 6, 7, 8. I mean, take this. I guess the item that's shown is basically the suit of the card. And it seems like at this point you're just waiting until the next hand. Okay. So take this and then maybe undo that, and that's one undo, that, and fire. Yeah, it seems like ending turns should just happen automatically. Maybe there should be like a timer or something. Yeah. So yeah, that doesn't feel like that was an intentional failure. I think that was just a random luck of the cards and the fact that we're playing on hard.
Duel.
Okay. You probably expose more cards doing this. Than doing that. 2, 3. Not ready to fire. But that's not a terrible. Alright, 0, 9. And then that's pretty much all I can do. Yeah, this could easily show itself to be a very difficult turn of events. And without some future abilities, active abilities, it does seem like at the current gameplay method, this would be kind of grindy and kind of dull. But I imagine we will get some active abilities that will start changing things up. And see, his attack of 4 is not really doing 4 damage, which that is interesting because mine is doing 5 damage. And his is charges less. 4, 3. Yeah, it kind of feels like it should just end the turn or skip these cards immediately. If it should be able to tell that you can't play and skip immediately, because it doesn't seem like there's any other options. Well, take that and hope that that's the right move. We don't have any more undos. I could potentially have maybe waited and tried to build up a combo in the next turn, but yeah, I don't think that would have worked. 9, and then 8, 7, and then 8. You start an attack bonus critical hit by playing 6 cards in a row. Try to keep going to get even bigger attack bonus. Okay. 7. And then 6. Nope, we go 8, 7, and then 6. And I think at that point you can't do any more. So now it's going to do 8 damage, even though he had 4. And see, that only gave me a good rating. Whereas I should have done that in 8 turns to get 2 stars. So your star system comes from the speed and the number of turns, which pretty much means if you need to get all those stars, which maybe you do, maybe you don't, maybe you play the game in relax mode. arguably, maybe you should just play the game in relaxed mode the first time through, and then play it on normal mode, and then play it on hard mode, very hard mode. But I'm trying very hard mode at the start here to see if maybe the achievements will overlap, and getting the achievement for beating the game on very hard will also give you the achievement for beating it on normal and easy, which a lot of games do that. So we have his knife, which may be a better option, in 18 gold. Drag the rogue's knife to the empty hand slot to equip it. We've got nothing else anyways. We're still not at the shop yet. And we're still level 1. Alright. Let's do chapter 2. I didn't read the description of this chapter, but it seems like it's probably always going to be fairly a simplistic sentence. Here we have a rich turnpike. Stand and deliver, you filthy fat carbuncle. Hand over your finery and legal scribbles to the legendary rich turnpike. Enough insults, you scoundrel. Take them, and remember what we agreed. Pass on the documents most urgently. Yes, Your Honor. Now run as fast as those stumpy limbs allow. Let be known among all wealthy souls that their goods are in jeopardy on this, my own fair highway. Enough, your insults and poetics are equally offensive. I'll gladly take my leave. Damn the old coot. A very poor subject for a robbery, even a staged one, and all for the sake of a few scraps of paper that I can't even read. This looks like a fine horse. Maybe I could borrow it and reimburse the owner later. Am I turning thief? Perhaps I am, but I need something to ride, damn it. Alright, so seems like you just immediately steal the horse and get this. This removes a random playable card from the playfield. The horse of a charging stallion destroys everything beneath them. The hooves of a charging stallion. So this is a 50 charge, and maybe this charge overlaps different rounds. Otherwise, it seems like you'd almost never be able to use that card unless there's some way to upgrade the card. Achieve a combo of 7, defeat the chapter boss. Okay. It's weird you have to click play. Doesn't that feel like it should just immediately jump into it? Interesting, you have a blood option to turn off also. But yeah, wouldn't it make a lot of sense to just jump into the game? But I guess you need to equip. But couldn't you simply have the equip be in front of starting a chapter and in front of the second part? Nah. I guess this is just the best way to do it. Charging Stallion. Use the active ability to remove 2 randomly playable cards that recharges as you play. Doesn't want me to do that now. I might as well. And here we have a locked card and a key. But doesn't that mean you drag the key to the lock? Yeah, this is pretty much just Regency Solitaire. And you don't drag cards on the other cards, though. Okay. But then you have nothing you can do here, so then you have to do this. 7, 8, 7, 6 reveals 2, and then 7, 6, and yeah. Does seem like that's just gonna slowly recharge. And then roll, and then 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, roll. 4 is useless. 5 can go 6 or 4. 6, I guess. Or we could undo that and we could go 4. And then Joker. Found a Joker. Joker's while it can be played on top of anything. You can play it at any time and place it on top of it. So let's see. Joker 8, 9. This card is a 3. 8, 9. 8, 9. There we've got a combo of 7. And at that point we have to end the combo. Here we have a 0. Which I don't know why that jiggled like that, but whatever. 1, I guess, connects to a 0. 5. Wait. Darn it. 6. I could have picked up that 6 earlier, but whatever. 0, 9, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 7, 6, 7, and 6 doesn't work. 2. You could take the 3 or you could take the 1. Doesn't really matter one way or the other. 3. Unless you were just paying really, really good attention as far as what cards had already been played, then it would matter. And it definitely feels like the cards they're giving you are not completely random. And see, here I got 3 stars. Probably because there was 0 cards left, more than the number of turns it takes. So the first group of challenges are clear the board. The second group of challenges is defeat the enemy using the card elements, which this does add a considerable amount of extra elements to solitaire, even more than what Regency Solitaire had, which were items, a few active abilities and charged abilities that would help you win in scenarios where it was probably impossible to win. Now they've taken a large step away from this being really anything close to actually just playing solitaire. You have my horse. Give her back and I'll spare your life. Rich Turnpike at your service. Land pirate of distinction. Highwayman extraordinaire. Well, I've never heard of you. I plan to keep the horse in retribution for wrecking my coach and killing my coachman. So this is the bad guy? The coach was yours? I'll fight you for the horse then, if you dare. Defend yourself. Okay, so we now know that Rich Turnpike was hired to fake a robbery, either to kill the coachman or to allow Mariah to escape. And there is probably a darker undertone here that's not being mentioned in the fact that Mariah seemed to be a lady of African descent in a time where they probably would not have been treated as equals at the very least, even if you were of the richer persuasion. So we're gonna fight him for the horse. Okay. This enemy has some defense, which means that your weapons won't deal as much damage. Good to know. Is that all there is to it? I guess that is. Okay. Now there's really no time limit here, so you probably would just want to do this. And generally, I guess you're charging this, this, and this. How many charges does this have? 30. So generally you'd want this charged up and ready to go. But no such luck. And this guy has 2 of the same pistols, which means maybe he can dual shoot. 6. Even the keys, though, were a step in a different direction, and keys and locked cards were something that were in Regency Solitaire. That's not something you normally have to deal with. 3, 4. Now 5, 6, 7, 6. I think is our best bet. Alright, and since we have 2 different things charged, it's probably better to do a 20% attack bonus with the one that does more damage. And I guess at this point you could argue it's better to attack with this one too. That kind of ends your turn. So now I'm starting to see with 3 items you could have 3 things charged, and on turns when you can't play you can make use of that and attack somebody instead of it just clicking turn, which now it suddenly makes sense why it's not just automatically turning over. But it still doesn't really make a lot of sense, because if nothing is charged here, you still would have to automatically just, it would be helpful if it just automatically turned over. Alright, well, 50% shot here. This one, actually it didn't matter, did it? Because we could do that. Anyways. I guess since we have no bonus, we'll just stab first. We have 1 health. Is there anything we can do that would save us on this? No. 7. Would this 8 reveal anything? Would this 8 reveal anything? I think if you did this, and then this, and then go ahead and just drag that first, and then this. Yeah. And yeah, I don't think there's anything better. So you attack with this, that does 4. And then here, and then here. And then, do I go 3, 2, 1? Guess that's probably what you want to do. Then you've got a 0, 20% attack bonus, which barely lets us win. Damn your eyes, you win this time. Keep the nag then. So I was one turn over silver. And again, I just feel like this is a case where you're gonna have to come back to these once you have better items. Like shoots for base 6 and 20% chance of stun with the flashy blunderbuss. We also have a basic head front protection, which adds 1 defense, called the Jaunty Tricorn, and 45 gold. Where's the young woman from the coach? Tell me. The spirited child slipped right away. Seems she had her own plan. I suppose I'll have to believe you for now. What's that in your coat pocket? Not but a few scraps of worthless paper. You wouldn't be interested. I'll take them anyway. Now I must go. Thanks for the ride, Turnpike. Ha, I looked good on that horse. Or bah, I looked good on that horse. Choose which character attributes you want to boost. So now we're at level 2, which willpower charges active abilities faster. Start a hand with cards face up. Find more jokers and spare cards. Cheat to draw better stock cards. Double gold under cards. Remove an extra playable card. I think you probably just go prosperity to start with. I think that's your best bet. And then this has a charge of 6, and this has a charge of 4. Which arguably going higher. So charge of 6 to do 6 versus a charge of 3 to do 4. It's better for that. This is actually a worse weapon. Outfit wise, we can go ahead and equip that. And then abilities wise, we have that. It's highly recommended you equip the blunderbuss. Interesting. They're saying equip it, but I would kind of say no. Probably don't want to equip it, but whatever. 20% of 6 versus 20% of 5 is not a big difference, but maybe it is big enough. So that was in which Lady Cornelia Darkmoor becomes a thief. So I imagine there are a lot of chapters here. Yeah, 22 chapters. And we've gone about 15 minutes, and one of the things I've kind of failed to do in the past couple of recordings that I've made is just find a good place to wrap up an episode. So I imagine we'll do 2 chapters, or try to do 2 chapters in every recording. And that would give us about 11 recordings, so quite a longer game. And some of these images kind of immediately spoil the people who you're going to fight, which might very well spoil how the story is going to go. Although I imagine a lot of these people are just kind of random people. Yeah. And that looks like that is pretty much the way the game is going to go. So it very well may be a case that it's a little bit shorter than what I think it is, because I'm thinking maybe nearly 10 hours of gameplay, but we may start doing these challenges and finding that they're a lot easier as we get upgrades and more items, although we may get into the challenges and find them to be actually incredibly hard because we're playing on very hard, and I might spend an hour just trying to get one chapter done. I imagine also it's very possible that the chapters get longer and there's 3, 4, 5 different challenges and chapters, sub-chapters in the chapter. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to further follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.